Are asking the same question. CNN's Don Lemon is at Grady Hospital where some of the injured are being treated. Don?
Yeah, they are. And you know, Frederica, yesterday 19 of those players were brought here, and we learned that 15 of them overnight or either this morning were discharged, so they're at local hotels now. We're also hearing this new information just in that a bunch of the players who are at those hotels have just loaded up on buses. They're going to come into the hospital to visit their teammates. 4 of their teammates still here in the hospital, 2 of them in critical condition, 1 in fair condition, and 1 in serious condition. We also learned some new information this morning from one of the doctors who treated one of the critical patients. One of the doctors says that one of those patients had to go back into surgery last night. He needed some work done on his spleen. So they're monitoring that. Families are upstairs now, awaiting word, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But I want to talk to you. Let's talk about some of the players who were on the buses. I spoke to 2 of them this morning. They were on the bus when it went over the side of that overpass yesterday morning, very early on. They talked to us about the smell of gas, waking up to the sound of the bus rumbling around, and then all of a sudden being disheveled once the bus hit the ground. Let's take a listen.
It's really hard to realize that this just happened, like, all day. You're just like, is this really happening? You just kind of wait. You're waiting to wake up. But then you see your teammates, and it's just, and you just realize there's players not there, and it just kind of hits you slowly, and it hits you hard at sometimes, and other times it just still feels unreal. Just continue to pray for us, and I'd like to say that the community and everyone around has just been extremely supportive and extremely kind. I can't thank them enough.
So again, those players telling some really harrowing tales about crawling out of that emergency hatch on the top of the bus and trying to get to safety, being inside of that dark bus. Not very long after that accident happened, and you heard the players talk about how quickly the emergency workers got there. Well, some of the first on the scene, if not the first on the scene, is Brian Shepler. You and your partner were the first on the scene there. Tell us what happened. You tell me you hadn't seen anything like it since you've been here.
No, not in Atlanta. It was a lot of people all at once. We were the first ambulance on scene. We were responsible for medical command, really triaging people as far as getting them off scene as quickly as possible, contacting other ambulances to get there, and arranging for their transport. As far as getting the patients out of the bus, as well as the patients that were left on scene.
Was it tough getting the patients out? Did you have to break glass, or how? Explain to us what happened.
Well, we had help doing that. The patients were, when we got them out, we were able to triage them. Some were trapped in the bus. It took a little while to get them out, and once they were out, we triaged them and sent them on to hospitals. Yeah,
because we're live, you know, we don't have time to talk to all of you, but again, even you say 17 years, this is unbelievable.
17 years in EMS, it's by far the largest MCI I've ever been on.
Yeah. In case you guys haven't heard on the news, those players are crediting all of you, saying that you got there fast and you really did make a bad, very terrible situation better by what you did. So we thank you for joining us today. Amazing work for you guys. Also, as far as the investigation goes, the National Transportation and Safety Board just left here not more than 10 minutes ago. We got a little bit of video of them leaving. They said they couldn't really tell us what they were talking about, but they did interview some of the people who were on the bus to try to get to the bottom of the situation here. So they have taken over the investigation. They said they're going to be on the ground here for quite a while. Their answers may not come, they say, sometimes for about a year, but also it's going to be doubly hard for them to figure out exactly what happened, because the person who was driving the bus, who might have the most knowledge, the driver, died, as well as his wife. That's the latest from the Grady Hospital here. I'm going to toss it back to you, Frederica.
All right, Don, thanks so much. Well, it is still hard to imagine what the paramedics went through and what the players on that bus went through. So much so, it's why so many people are still gathering at the site of that accident yesterday. The I-75 overpass. You're looking at live pictures right now. A number of people who have gathered, along with some of the investigators that Don just mentioned, still checking out the scene. A lot of onlookers who have come by, even placing flowers there in what's become a makeshift memorial there at the overpass at I-75 here in Atlanta. So many of the players and the coaches on the bus were asleep at the time of the accident, and then many of them were jolted awake with the bus on its side on the interstate. CNN's Drew Griffin reports.